Hi, I'm Bob Lederer, and welcome to Pharma Research VIDEO Report, where pharmaceutical, healthcare, biotech, and medical device market researchers go for news, insights, and commentary about research in their industries that they just won't find anywhere else. Let's get started. The Economic Times reported that India's $15 billion a year global pharmaceutical exporting businesses are shifting their focus on generics being shipped to the United States. The cause is FDA's clearance of generic drug applications at a much faster pace. That is increasing competition. There is also the government agency's granting of first to file, or FTF, status for several agencies. According to Economic Times reporter Raji Reddy Kesareddy, FTFs are the main growth drivers for most leading Indian drug manufacturers. But FDA's amended guidelines permitting joint first to copycat drug makers are diluting the value of FTF's exclusive 180-day exclusive marketing rights. Analysts told Kesareddy that large Indian drug makers are shifting their focus toward niche drugs that have high entry barriers like complex generics. And an anonymous senior exec with an Indian generic firm shared with Kesareddy the increasing attention on injectables and drugs with limited competition. Next, after an investigation that began back in 2012 involving 9 major data broker companies that aggregate consumer information from online and offline sources, the FTC recommended to Congress last week passage of legislation that would give consumers added control over their personal health information. FTC reported that these data brokers collect huge volumes of personal information. It includes medical data about nearly every U.S. consumer, but the data is unverified. It's stored indefinitely, which poses the threat of theft, according to the Federal Trade Commission. And these data are sorted into potentially sensitive categories like cholesterol and diabetes. FTC wants its proposed new law to allow consumers to access and correct their data, and perhaps even to opt out of data collection. Consumer exercise of control over use of sensitive information is particularly important to the FTC in this report. Finally, at the Market Research Mobile World Conference here in Chicago last week, we ran across Gilbert Reveillon. He's the Managing Director International for a company known as Cityzen Sciences, a Paris-based marketer of mobile health fitness wearables. With all the discussion concerning these kinds of health and fitness apps that are just running rampant throughout our industry, we thought a discussion with Gilbert about the shirt that he had on hand would be particularly interesting. And by the way, thanks to our friends at USAMP who make this interview possible. You actually manufacture wearables that have sensitive devices in them, monitoring devices, and it is specifically for health and fitness.
Exactly. It's a machine that has been built from a consortium of 3 major companies. It's 20 million euros that has been put in R&D over the last 3 years. And the machine helps to merge 2 industries. The very first one is textile, and the second one is embedded sensors, so electronics. So we fit the 2 into a jersey.
Yeah, open that up and show us.
Sure.
I mean, it's just a regular looking shirt.
It's a regular looking shirt.
What's it made out of?
So it's made of simply textile and electronics that are fitted into the garment, and it's woven inside. And there is a gateway that communicates to your mobile phone.
And what does this particular shirt have
in it? This one
collects information.
So the data that are collected are vital data. So the vitals data are such as the heart rate. So it can produce an ECG sufficient enough not to substitute to a health treatment, but good enough to alert if someone starts to drive a car.
And hold that shirt up. Where is it in that shirt?
So it's a sensor. It's a micro sensor. It's at the front, and it's usually a sensor is 1 inch of diameter. This, with our technology, with the machine that has been built up by the French government, funding it for 8 million euros, this sensor is shrunk from 1 inch to 1 millimeter. so very tiny, very small. And then there are zones which are capturing the data, capturing the heart rate, the blood temperature, the heart temperature, obviously the body temperature, the pH, but also the movements, the speed, up, down, right, left. So it's called smoothie because it's very smooth.
And the data is collected where?
So the data are collected at the back here with a small box, which is called a gateway, and it communicates with a mobile phone through Bluetooth. So I'll show you what I've done around a hospital in the French region. So that's me. I don't know if you can see something, but that's me running, and you can see my heart rate according to the path. So we are producing time series which are based on the space and the time on three-dimensional axis, which means if someone falls and stays over the floor for half an hour, then we can trigger an alarm through the server.
What does a shirt like that cost to manufacture?
It costs roughly 30% to 40% more than a top range product.
And you were telling me before, like something you would buy in a Nike store or something like that, where you might be accustomed to spending $50, $60 on a shirt?
Yeah, you know, a wristband, such as a brand that you must know, it's $115 on Cathay Pacific, the airline, which sells duty-free products. So $110 for one point of contact, which is not actually very truly reliable. And it just provides basic information such as the numbers of steps. With us, it's true data. It's not algorithm that predicts. It's true data that are forwarded, broadcasted real time on a mobile phone, on the server. Obviously, there are data protection, data issues that are very well secured. And the data integrity is highly important because you don't want to have someone else getting access to your data about your vital.
Is the data collection that you talked about that is collected here on your cell phone, is it also something that can be transmitted to your physician so that he can keep track of what your activity level is and your heart rate and that sort of stuff?
Totally. It all depends on data privacy. Who get access to your data? They belongs to you. They are secured, so we have the best algorithm to make sure that data protection is the highest standard in the world that you could imagine. And then you could open it to a network of medics, paramedics, if you want to do it. So the application could be for very youngsters, the mom or the fathers that wants to make sure that the kids that gets out of home are, if they get some fever or if they get some trouble or disease, you know exactly how much the kid is healthy or sick. Could be you and me, or it could be a very elderly person that at 2 a.m. in the morning, he won't think about taking a mobile, he won't think about taking a device. Whereas if he fits this and he falls down, we have all the sensors, we have gyroscopic antenna of 9 axes, and we can trigger a physician, we can trigger a call center, we can trigger whoever we wish through a big data platform, because we provide a value proposition not just with one leg of data collection, but also the other leg, which is data treatment.
Okay. One last question. Because there is so much competition, there is so much interest in health and fitness apps and such, what is the differentiating points between, as just one example, this particular shirt and others that you're competing with?
The bottom line is how industrialized processing you can provide. This is a machine that provides sensors embedded into the wavelet, into the fibers. For the time being, we are producing micro sensors, which is already giving us 2 years leadership on anybody in the market, including the big brands that you might know. But we are preparing the nano ones, which will be not the size of 1 millimeter, but the size of a hair. And we are already building, this is 50 patents. 50.
By the way, how do you clean this?
Machine.
Just a washing machine?
Washing machine.
If you'd like to know more from Gilbert, you can email Reveillon at citizensciences.fr. We've put, obviously, that connection right up here on the screen. That's this week's Pharma Research Video Report. By the way, our report is now available not only through YouTube, but a mobile app for iPhone, iPad, and iPod Touch. And we're also now making it available in the cloud for those of you whose operations may be blocking YouTube. So there are many ways to view Pharma Research Video Report, and we hope you'll take advantage of them and share our new video series with your friends and peers in the business. Have a great research week, and we'll see you next time.